Egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Toss it to Tune, cuts back to the middle of the field, over the shoulder, into the end zone, touchdown! He started left, cut back to the middle of the field, and he's into the end zone, and Jacksonville has taken the lead.
Frank Franchi on the call, Jaguars radio. That was yesterday afternoon, and what a difference a week makes. 168 little hours. It was 1 week ago tonight I sat in this studio in front of this microphone, in fact, in this very chair that I'm talking to you right now, and I didn't know if the season was going to be able to continue for the Jaguars. I thought maybe it would have ended in the fourth quarter in Houston, Texas, losing a 19-point fourth quarter lead in the fashion that the Jaguars did. You want to talk about a gut check? You want to talk about a gut punch for this Jaguar football team? And we talked all week. How would they respond? I'll tell you this. I'm not a gambling man. It's probably a good thing because I would have lost some matchsticks yesterday as Jacksonville absolutely demolishes the Los Angeles Chargers, their best win of the year, their best 4 quarters of football, and Jacksonville now sits at 6-4. And like I told you before Houston, when the Jaguars were 5-3, we sat here prior to Houston, and I said, look, with Houston and the Chargers coming up, get me to 6-4. I don't care how it happens. Get me to 6-4, and I'll be happy. Well, I'll be a son of a gun if the Jaguars are not 6-4, and I'm pretty happy about where they stand right now in the American Football Conference. And with that, a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A victory Monday here in Northeast Florida after the Jaguars' most dominating performance of the year. Got a ton of thoughts about what transpired yesterday down at Everbank Stadium. Guest lineup looks like this. Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio. Always enjoy talking with Brian. He's going to join me at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, about 25 minutes from right now, looking back on yesterday and looking forward for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also the coach, Dave Campo, a little Monday night coaching with Campo, the former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, will join us later on in tonight's program. And we will talk about the win, what it means moving forward, and what the Jaguars stand now with 7 weeks to go in the NFL regular season. We're glad you're with us to kick off the week here on Hacker After Dark. Every night on HAD, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Liam freaking Cohen. That guy, man. I become a bigger and bigger fan of his every week. His demeanor, his interactions, things he shares with us, the media, things he shares with you, the fans. And yesterday, in the absolute demolishing of the Los Angeles Chargers, Liam Cohen was into his bag. I thought that was the best game plan the Jaguars had. I thought it was the best play calling that Liam Cohen has done since he has become coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I thought from a coaching standpoint, and lump Anthony Campanile into this as well, the defensive coordinator. I think both of those guys, Cohen and Campanile, both did an absolutely terrific job in getting the Jaguars to that 35-6 win yesterday. But you know what else it showed? It showed what Liam Cohen's been talking about really this entire season. Penalties were down. They were able to run the ball. They were able to not make mistakes for the most part, save the Trevor pick. That was as clean a football game as Jacksonville has played this year. Now, mistakes are going to happen. Things are going to come up. But for the Jaguars, you're talking 9, 10, 11 penalties a game. You're talking 1, 2, 3 turnovers a game. That you cannot win when you do that, no matter the game plan, no matter what you do leading up to that particular game. But yesterday, there were very few penalties. Yesterday, the Jaguars were able to run the ball. Look, I sat here and I crushed the Jaguar offensive line last week. Just crushed them. And with good reason. They were awful against Houston in the fourth quarter. I'll stand by that. They were awful. But in the interest of fairness, one thing that I like to be is fair when I talk into this microphone. I will give them their flowers for yesterday, because you want to talk about a 180-degree difference? 180 degrees. I always like when people say it's a 360. Well, a 360 means you go back literally to where you started. 180 means the exact opposite of where you are right now. In a 180-degree difference, the Jaguar offensive line, after that fourth quarter in Houston, they got challenged. Their physicality was challenged. Their toughness as football players was challenged. And they responded yesterday across the board. Walker Little, Cole Van Lannon filling in for Anton Harrison, Patrick McCarry, and the two guys I want to single out, Ezra Cleveland and Robert Hainsey. You know, I'm old enough to remember when the Jaguars signed Robert Hainsey, people were asking me, well, why'd they sign the backup center in Tampa? I'm also old enough to remember Ezra Cleveland was going to be traded, or at very best for him, was going to be benched during training camp for Wyatt Milam. And it turns out, as you let this thing play out over a period of time, Robert Hainsey now is playing way better than the current Tampa Bay center. Tampa Bay is regretting that decision. And Ezra Cleveland arguably is the Jaguars' best offensive lineman. Certainly the best interior offensive lineman. So, again, the NFL is a marathon, man. It is a long, long deal from where we were in July to where we are now in November, and it will be a long deal to where we end up in January. You enjoy the ride, you let it play out, but I thought the offensive line really responded, and so did the defense. The defense, likewise, was terrible in the fourth quarter against Houston. They heard about it all week. What did they do? Well, they absolutely shut down Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson, Oronde Gadsden. Do you realize those four guys, Gadsden, McConkey, Johnston, and Keenan Allen, all four of them have over 450 yards receiving on the year? I believe the Chargers coming into yesterday were the only team that had four pass catchers that had at least 450 yards receiving for the year. Justin Herbert threw for 81 yards yesterday. 81 yards. Now, he was under constant duress. Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, Eric Armstead, you know, the young guys, B.J. Green, Danny Strigal. It was a great effort by the D-line. But even when Herbert had time, he was so rattled. He was missing guys. He had the pick to Antonio Johnson. I mean, that was, I was thinking about this earlier. That was as complete a performance by the Jacksonville Jaguars as they probably had going back to one of those early games in 2023. Best game of this year, to me, by far. They didn't have anything resembling this in 2024. And probably at 2023, that 8-3 start, if you think about it, probably had a performance like this, maybe. But you got to go back 2+ years, man. That was the best showing for this organization in 2+ years. Circling back to Liam Cohen really quick. I'm going to let you hear some of his thoughts coming up in just a bit. He spoke to the media earlier today at the Miller Electric Center. Again, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio joins me in about 20 minutes. One more thought on Liam Cohen to kick it off tonight. You know, here is your first-year head coach. First year as an NFL head coach. 39 years old when he was hired. He's now 40. Here is what that guy has had to deal with. You ready for this? He's had to inherit a losing mindset with this organization. like any first-year coach does. Why do a majority of guys get their first job? Because they're inheriting a program or an organization that's not very good. So you already have to deal with the fact that you're taking over an organization that is not very good. They won 5 out of 23 games prior to your arrival. So he's had to deal with that. He had to deal with all the Travis Hunter stuff pre-injury. You know, where are you going to play him? Constant questions about Travis Hunter. Then you compound that with Travis Hunter getting hurt at practice, and ultimately being gone for the year. You add on top of that Brian Thomas Jr., a guy we all thought was going to be a top 10 receiver in this league, having a pretty big, significant sophomore slump. You add on to that the injuries to Brenton Strange. Trayvon Walker missed some time. Devin Lloyd missed some time. A couple of your big free agent signings, Eric Murray, Jordan Lewis have missed time. Anton Harrison missed yesterday. BTJ's obviously missed some games. So the team is beat to heck. There was one day last week they had 15 guys on the injury report. And oh yeah, people were bashing your franchise quarterback, starting to call him a bust for not getting over the hump in year 5, age 26 for Trevor Lawrence. And despite all that, and I probably missed a couple of things, despite all that, here we are 10 games in. The Jaguars are 6-4. The Jaguars absolutely control their own destiny for a wild card and, quite frankly, control their own destiny for the division championship with 7 games to go. Liam Cohen is not going to be coach of the year because you see what Steichen's doing in Indianapolis. You see what Vrabel is doing in New England. Those guys get more national attention, and with good reason. They've both done very good jobs. So Liam Cohen will be down the pecking order when it comes to coach of the year candidates. But I will tell you this, that guy has done one heck of a job here in Jacksonville. I am thrilled that he is the Jaguar head coach, even in the losses. The way he talks to the team, the access he gives you, the fans, we, the media, in those post-game locker rooms after losses, Liam Cohen has brought a lot to the table in just 10 short games here in Jacksonville. And I commend Shad Khan, Tony Boselli, and everybody in that process for finally seeing the light after the likes of Gus Bradley and Mike Mularkey and Doug Marrone and Urban Meyer and Doug Peterson. Nothing against all those guys, maybe with the possible exception of Herb, but they just did not work out here for whatever reason. Liam Cohen, it's early. It's 10 games. But having said that, I like the trajectory of where that man has this organization going. 641-1010 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your thoughts always welcome here on a Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark. More on the game. We'll let you hear from Liam Cohen coming up next, and Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, 15 minutes away. We're glad you're with us on a Monday as we go till 10 o'clock tonight, right here with you. It's Hacker After Dark.
Sometimes it's an offensive show.
You gotta be kidding me.
Sometimes it's a show of offensive discipline.
There are no words.
Listen for the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Everybody, Mike Dempsey here, and the cooler weather is upon us. Folks, it's the perfect time to try the new breakfast sandwich from Dandy Foods. A hearty one, too. A twin-pack cinnamon swirl and country sausage. You get the sweet first, then the salty kicks in, and trust me, they are addicting. And you'll find them all at daily stores around town. So the next time you're out and about, stop and get all that deliciousness in less than a minute from Dandy. Just one more reason to go out and make yours a dandy, and do it today.
You already know it's your main man, E to the T, here for Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree draft. And with ball season here, make sure you're on the lookout for my instant reaction before, during, or after the game. All brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree drafts. Come on, somebody.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, Prosser here, and right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's rapid equity loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, saved $2,100 a month. One call, life change. There's no wait, no hard credit pull. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates at a 3-year low. Act now. Call 914-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Call 914-999-1508. See how much cash you can get today. You can also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Hometown for Heroes Home Buyers Program helps you get your down payment and closing costs paid. Call to learn more. 574-7180.
City Rescue Mission has been providing food, clothing, and love for over 70 years to the homeless in Jacksonville. If someone you know is struggling, City Rescue Mission is here to help. Learn more about the City Rescue Mission at crmjax.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caaleague.org.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass, and he told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, you only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
We now owe it to each other to play that way for the rest, for the rest of the year as much as possible, right? And we'll see what the result is. That's got to be our mindset as a team, is like we owe it to each other now to put that on tape as much as possible for the remainder of the season and let the results be what they may.
The thoughts of Jaguar head coach Liam Cohen earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center. Thank you to Jaguars.com. Speaking of Jaguars.com, Brian Sexton joins me in about 10 minutes or so. So if you missed the quote yesterday, I think this will be on T-shirts in the not-too-distant future. I would imagine this. I don't know if this will turn into "It Was Always the Jags" from 2022, but this could turn into something. When Liam Cohen took that podium yesterday, and I'm quoting him here, is what he said. He said, "We play better when we're pissed off." And that kind of goes back into what we talked about last week, right? This team responds to adversity with an A+ level. I mean, A+. Think about it. Heartbreak City in Cincinnati. Jake Browning comes in and leads Cincinnati to victory in week 2. They score with like 18 seconds to go. Brutal loss. What do the Jaguars do the very next week? Come back here and for the first time in 9 years beat C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. Then you go to Wembley Stadium, get your doors blown off in London by the Rams 35-7, and have to go through a bye week after that to stew about it for 2 weeks, what do? You go out to Las Vegas and get a big road win against the Raiders. And then finally, you have the biggest fourth quarter collapse in franchise history. You blow a 19-point lead to the Houston Texans in the fourth quarter. You lose in the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, just getting kicked below the belt by a mule fashion you could possibly imagine by your rival. You come back 7 days later, and you absolutely dismantle the Los Angeles Chargers. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the honor roll. Maybe they're the valedictorian this year of responding to adversity, because they've already done it 3 separate times, and we're only 10 games into the season. This will be more of a talking point beginning tomorrow into Wednesday, into Thursday, obviously. The question now, again, is can you respond to success? You're going to be given your flowers all week. You're going to be told how great you are all week. Huge win. Destroying Herbert, Harbaugh, and the Chargers. Pats on the back all around. 6-4. Right in the thick of it. You go play lowly Arizona next week, and then you play lowly Tennessee. Your next 2 opponents, even though they're on the road, your next 2 opponents have combined records of 4-16 so far this year. The 3-7 Cardinals and the 1-9 Titans. And then you have the gargantuan game here against Indianapolis the first Sunday in December. Can they respond to success? Because they have struggled in that department. We will see on Sunday out in Arizona. Again, more on that game as the week goes on. By the way, I know Arizona did lose yesterday, and I know they had to throw because they were getting beat so bad by San Francisco. Did you see the final numbers for Jacoby Brissett? He threw for like 450 yards yesterday. I know Michael Wilson and Trey McBride both went over 100 yards receiving. They threw it all over the place.
He broke a NFL record for completions.
Crazy. He threw it like 57 times.
Yeah, completed 47 of them.
Absolutely. And they still got throttled. They lost by like 20.
Yeah, they were down by 20 the whole game pretty much.
Yeah, and we don't know the status of Marvin Harrison. Again, I don't want to get too much into Arizona. That'll come later in the week. But what an opportunity for Jacksonville, man. What an opportunity. 6-4. And like I was telling Baloo, you look at this schedule coming up. Houston plays 72 hours from now against Buffalo. And it's situations like this where you absolutely love what New England's doing. Because based on what New England is doing at 9-2, the Buffalo Bills need to win on Thursday night. That is a huge game for them in Houston. So hopefully Josh Allen and the Bills can go down there and beat Houston. And then Sunday, 1 o'clock, I was ecstatic yesterday when Denver beat Kansas City. Ecstatic. Because Jacksonville has a tiebreaker over Kansas City, that was part of it. But the other part is now Kansas City's at 5-5, and they're in must-win territory. And who do they play on Sunday? They're at home at Arrowhead against, ding, 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 the Indianapolis Colts. Colts at Chiefs. Bills at Texans, Jaguars at Cardinals. Who's got the easier game on paper? Not even close, but I probably don't need to remind you of this. I don't give one flying droplet of rats, you know what, about a backup quarterback for Arizona playing. Because that's what Jacoby Brissett is. Jake Browning, Davis Mills. Yeah, it didn't work out well the first 2 times. Maybe it'll work out better on Sunday. More from Jaguar head coach Liam Cohen. He met the media earlier today down at the Miller Electric Center, talking about the team responding to adversity. Like I said, they're on the honor roll, man. They've gotten rave reviews being able to respond to adversity so far this year. Cohen was asked about the lessons in life that come when you face adversity as a team.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the journey of being in this role and being in this organization, right? Being in this opportunity is you're able to learn every week. And as we know in life, just like football, the best lessons usually come when you go through something hard. And so that not only helps us as players and as coaches and as a team, but it helps us as people grow and learn. And that's ultimately what the essence of sport does.
You know, the big story last week as well was how is this team going to respond? I went on Twitter Saturday, I guess, maybe Sunday before the game. It might have been yesterday morning. And I said that I had no expectations for the Jaguars because I know a lot of you hadn't recovered. Talking to you, a lot of you, the fans, had not recovered from that Houston loss. Quite frankly, when you do what we do every day and talk to people every day, and we're kind of engulfed in Jaguar football every day in this job that we're in, me personally, I don't think I had really gotten over that loss. That loss against Houston sucked. That was terrible. Terrible. And then to think the team, the guys that actually go out there and lay it on the line, have to come back in 7 short days and play a 7-3 Charger team with a quarterback like Justin Herbert, who's in the MVP conversation. I did not expect good things yesterday. Like I said, I'm happy I'm not a gambling man. I would have lost some matchsticks yesterday. And the Jaguars came out with the mentality of being ticked. More on that in a moment. Liam Cohen was asked about the team responding with the right mentality in yesterday's win.
A number of those guys did respond this past week with the right, mindset and mentality, and want to do right and want to help be a part of change and help be a part of why, the reason why we continue to hopefully elevate and raise the standard here. So, I know playing meaningful games in November and December are earned opportunities. And the way that we go and approach each week is what gives us the opportunity and gives us that right. And ultimately, I think everybody that's been here or that is here now knew, whatever rookies, free agents, I think we all see how we have to prepare and play for us to have success.
Again, the thoughts of Jaguar head coach Liam Cohen. Thank you to our friends over there at Jaguars.com. They being the Jaguars, need to channel whatever that was yesterday at Everbank Stadium. They need to bottle some of that up and take it with them to the desert. Because if they play 75% of the way they played yesterday in Arizona, they'll win the game. That was one of the best teams in the NFL on that field yesterday at Everbank Stadium. I don't think that was necessarily a bad day at the office for the Chargers. I talked to 2 LA guys that cover that team every day. They said they were ready. They knew about the issues they had on the East Coast going into a bye. They knew how important that game was because Denver and Kansas City was playing after them yesterday. They were prepared as prepared can be, and you heard that from 2 different LA reporters on this show last week that are at every Charger practice. When you're down there every day, man, you think you know, right? You think you have some sort of inkling. Well, I was wrong about the Jaguars because they surpassed my expectations, and obviously my LA guys were wrong because the Jaguars beat them up and down the field. Best game the Jaguars have played in over 2 years. Dominating performance. Liam Cohen on offense, Anthony Campanile on defense, and congratulations to Joshua Hines Allen. For you longtime Jaguar fans like me, I know Tony Brackens hasn't worn a Jaguar uniform in over 2 decades, but we remember how dominant he was. We remember how his career was cut short due to the microfracture knee surgery. There was a time, 96, 97, 98, 99, Brackens was arguably the best defensive end in football. Certainly in the conversation. I want to say he forced something like 8 fumbles. Forced 8 fumbles in 1999, the 14-2 team. Tony Brackens was dominant, but his career was cut a little short due to microfracture surgery on the knee. 55 sacks are what he finished with. Joshua Hines Allen breaks that mark yesterday, and good on Josh, man. Great for him. Happy for him. You could tell what it meant to him, and he played his tail off, man. We'll critique Josh Allen because he's supposed to be the guy here. We'll critique Joshua Hines Allen because, maybe he has off weeks, which he does. There's no debating that. But when all is said and done, that guy is going to be one of the best defensive players that's ever played here. He's got a lot more football ahead of him. I mean, for crying out loud, I think he's still only like 27 years old. He's got a long way to go in his career. 56 and counting. And congratulations to the new all-time sack leader in Jaguar franchise history. Coming up next, my buddy Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio. Let's talk to Brian, who's a Jaguar encyclopedia, about Hines Allen breaking Bracken's record, but obviously about the win yesterday, the statement from Liam Cohen, the coaching job by this staff, and what a win like that could do to the Jaguars moving forward. Again, not to look too far down the road. The Jaguars' next 4 opponents: at 3-7 Arizona, at 1-9 Tennessee, gigantic home game against 8-2 Indy, and then the New York Jets roll in here, who I believe are rocking a 2-8 record. 4 of the next 7 games for the Jaguars are against teams with 3 wins or fewer. The Jaguars' schedule gets easier. The Texans and the Colts' schedule gets harder. The next 3 games for the Colts: at Kansas City, home Houston, at Jacksonville. We're going to find out an awful lot about them in the next 3 weeks. Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
A high-performance machine raises eyebrows and holds your attention.
And play big-time football on a big-time stage.
And so it is with the Performance Painting High-Performance Play of the Game.
Somebody got to make a play. Hey.
On 1010XL.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller. Jason, I called you about the ductwork in my attic this summer, and you totally blew me off.
I did.
My airflow is too low and my bills are too high.
I know.
There's stains on my ceiling tiles and sweating around the vents, and the mice have chewed so many holes in the ducts, I think they're getting more AC than I am.
I know.
Then how could you let me suffer all summer, Jason?
Because summer is the one time of year I just can't send my technician into someone's steaming hot attic. They'd kill me. Ductwork is hot, cramped work at the best of times. Lucky for you, those best of times are in November.
You mean like now?
Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair your old, damaged, or just plain sketchy ductwork right now when it's not too hot and not too cold.
And none of your technicians will kill you.
It's a win-win.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WonderWorld wants you to do. WonderWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WonderWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WonderWorld can.
And with WonderWorld, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WonderWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WonderWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WonderWorld, and to top it off, WonderWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WonderWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call Window World today and get your free in-home estimate, or see them online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is now available at the Fresh Market Spirits and Wine. The Fresh Market Spirits and Wine is a new adult beverage store offering spirits, wine, beer, and accessories at A1A North in Ponte Vedra, a first-of-its-kind destination for thoughtfully curated spirits, wine, and beer as only the Fresh Market can. And now, you can get Brackish Vodka at the Fresh Market. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Post-game Monday on 1010XL. Served by Dandy Foods, making quality fresh sandwiches since 1956.
This is the event people wait for all year. Beard's Diamonds Anniversary Sale is here. As the town center's only locally owned jeweler, Beards celebrates 44 years in Jacksonville with huge store-wide savings. That's right, you save up to 44%. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands. Buy now and get as much as 44% off Beards' already amazing prices. Check out our new selection of amazing diamond necklaces with both natural or lab-grown diamonds. Or see our selection of the hottest yellow gold fashion jewelry starting at under $300. And if you're getting engaged before year end, you can get the ring of her dreams and save like never before at Beards. Beards Diamonds, because we're local, we can run circles around those corporate chain stores with better selection, better prices, better service, and better quality. Don't settle for chain store jewelry. Get her the best at Beards. Don't miss Beards Diamonds anniversary sale up to 44% off store-wide. Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center. Shop local, shop Beards.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Hi, I'm John Haney from Clearwater Gutters and Drainage. After heavy rains, the problems are obvious. Mulch blown out of your beds, water standing around your foundation, and that fancy new crater back behind your bushes. Let Clearwater Seamless Gutters help you solve the problem spots.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters.
And drainage, too.
Find out more at clearwaterjacks.com.
Hey Jacksonville, Rick Ballou here. Looking for a brand new truck? Right now, Crew Cab Ram trucks start at just $38,900 at Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram West Side. And every new retail purchase comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty and no extra cost. From tough Ram trucks to adventure ready Jeeps, they've got the perfect ride waiting for you. Stop by Commonwealth Avenue or shop online at jackswest.com. Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram West Side, proud partner of the Jaguars.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars Cardinals, Sunday, 4 o'clock. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL as the Jaguars now sit 6-4 on the year after absolutely dismantling the Los Angeles Chargers yesterday at Everbank Stadium. Let's recap the game. Let's briefly look ahead to Arizona with my buddy Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. You also hear him on Jaguars Radio. Brian's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Brian, how we doing, man?
Ryan, I'm great. How are you?
Brian, we're good. Certainly a lot better on this Monday than we were a week ago. I don't think anybody had a thought that the Jaguars were going to come out and do that yesterday. Could they win the game? Sure. I think that everybody thought they could win the game yesterday. But coming off that 19-point fourth quarter collapse, there was a lot of questions about how this team would respond. And to come out there and do that to Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, and the Chargers, Brian, what a game yesterday by the Jaguars.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on the response, but before I do, let me underscore your statement about the Jaguars winning. It was tougher to see when we learned that there would be no Brenton Strange return, that Brian Thomas Jr. was going to be out, that we wouldn't see Jordan Lewis back on the field or Anton Harrison, and that they would lose Greg Newsome early in the ballgame, and Christian Braswell, who'd been on and off the roster, in and out of Jacksonville, but had, been good enough just to be around, was thrust into action and was not a liability. That they did it in the fashion they did it, with the players they did it with. I mean, go back and look at Travis Etienne's first touchdown run and look and see what Quentin Morris, the tight end, the fourth tight end when the season began, the third tight end right now, go look what he did. I mean, it was just a crushing blow on Bud Dupree. So there were a lot of contributions from a lot of players that you wouldn't have thought would have given you a chance to win, which brings me to the response. Look, in every season, there is a clunker like that. For the Bills, it was last week in Miami. For the Chargers, it was this week in Jacksonville. For the Jaguars, it was last week in Houston. So you have those, and it's how you respond. And I thought this one was on Liam Cohen, right? I mean, I was in a meeting in the spring where Liam talked to his football staff, and he invited us in to kind of get an idea of exactly, where he comes from philosophically and what he's looking for. And I was furiously taking notes that day. I think it was late March, early April. And so I knew that he would be ready. It was clear as day to me that when it got really sticky, nothing was going to change, that Liam Cohen was going to be the exact same person he was that day in the spring as he was the first day of training camp, as he was after a big win over Kansas City and a big loss after Houston. I had to go back through the 31 years of Jaguars football, trying to find another instance where a team belonged entirely to the coach, right? Where the coach was so believed in the locker room, where the faith of the players was so strong. And I have to go back to post Denver playoffs for Tom Coughlin, right? So when they won out there and beat John Elway, that was the last time I think I could identify where it was Tom Coughlin's team, and now it is Liam Cohen's team. He can do whatever he wants. He can say whatever he needs to say. This team believes in him.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. You look at that third quarter yesterday, Brian, 14-6. The Jaguars get the ball coming out of the second half locker room, and they take the ball and go 11 plays and punch it in for 6. And you're thinking, wow. And then you get a 3-and-out where the defense completely just wrecks Herbert again. And then the Jaguars take the ball and go 16 plays and have a great design and a touchdown to Tim Patrick. Brian, I thought the third quarter yesterday was the best quarter of football this team has maybe played since 2023.
Well, and pin that one on Trevor Lawrence, who was 6 of 7 in the third quarter with 77 passing yards and a couple of pinpoint throws into zone coverage, targeting Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers. There were a couple of plays in the first half where I wrote in my notebook next to a Trevor throw, let her rip, ? Right? Like, was that really what we wanted? And then he came out in the third quarter and presented that body of work. I thought it was a great performance by Trevor Lawrence. And if it wasn't for the 3rd and 12 pass to Jacoby Myers, that was so pivotal, right? They don't score on those long drives. I mean, there were so many instances in the first half where you're like, come on, Trev. And then in the third quarter, you're like, come on, Trev. And then the play design on a couple of those was it was awesome to watch. So I thought Trevor Lawrence was a huge reason in the third quarter why the Jaguars, and people will go, well, they ran the ball. Yeah, they ran the ball, but they threw the ball in critical situations, and he delivered. And that's what we're looking for. I know everyone wants to complain about Trevor, that he's not this elite level quarterback. Well, listen, he's the Jags quarterback for the next couple of years, and I can tell you from conversations I have with people in the building, they are committed to getting him where he needs to be. And yesterday in the third quarter, it showed.
You mentioned Jacoby Myers, Brian. That young man's been here for 10 days, and he had 5 catches for 64 yards, led the team in both receptions and yardage. Parker Washington chimed in. Tim Patrick did his thing with a touchdown. And reinforcements are coming, right? Sooner rather than later, Brenton Strange will be back out there. Sooner rather than later, Brian Thomas Jr. will be back out there. I know we're still bummed about the Travis Hunter situation, but when BTJ and Strange get out there with the unit they had yesterday, this offense could be pretty good coming down the stretch here.
I mean, listen, at one point, he threw back-to-back passes to Johnny Munt and Austin Trammell. Are you kidding? You think they're going to beat the Chargers going into the game? You think they're going to beat the Chargers throwing the ball to Austin Trammell and Johnny Munt? And yet they did. I mean, it's a testament to a great plan and an excellent week on the practice field. And you say, well, how can you say great and excellent? I can because of the results. 35-6. Are you kidding me? Listen, they were pissed, to use Liam Cohen's words. And it was up to Liam, who I'm told was very animated last Monday with his football team. And then he brought them back around on Wednesday like a great coach does and got them focused on the work of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And the result showed. It's a good football team. Is it a great football team? I don't think so. I think that, they've got some issues at safety. The pass rush was terrific yesterday. It's been inconsistent. But I think it's a good football team. And, all it takes is getting your foot in the door in the wild card, not ruling out where they're sitting, chasing the Colts with 2 games against them. But you just have to get your foot in the door, and a good team can get hot and make some noise.
Couple more for Brian Sexton. Brian, I want to talk about the future in a moment. Final thought on yesterday's game. You called all 55 of Tony Bracken's sacks. You now see Joshua Hines-Allen surpass him on the all-time sack mark for the Jaguars in franchise history. Just your thoughts on seeing Hines-Allen break Bracken's mark yesterday.
Well, Josh Hines-Allen is a first-class human being, right? He approaches being a husband, father, football player, teammate with the same consistent level of himself every day. I met him on the stage when he was picked number 7 overall in Nashville in 2019. And let's just put it this way, I'm not surprised at the man he has become, despite the money, right? He got the big check, and you wonder sometimes how guys are going to respond when they get the big payday. He still works hard. It's important to him. He is truly a great ambassador for Jacksonville and for the Jaguars. I think Tony Brackens was next level athlete, right? I mean, Tony Brackens was, if he could have stayed healthy, if it wasn't for the microfracture, I think he would have been a much more productive player. Let's put it this way. I think if it wasn't for the knee that shortened his career, Josh would still be chasing the record. But listen, as great an athlete as Brack was, and he was a lion. I mean, the guy, when he lined up and wanted to play, very few people. Just find Jonathan Ogden, Hall of Fame, former left tackle of the Baltimore Ravens. Ask him about Brack. But for all of those accolades about the type of athlete that Tony Brackens was, Josh Hines-Allen gets it for the type of person and player he is. Because if you saw the record-breaking sack yesterday, and I know you did, he had a great rush to the outside. He contained Herbert in the pocket. When Herbert tried to escape, the tackle gave a shove from behind, and Josh kind of lost his balance and was heading to the ground, but lunged for the legs. He was not going to be denied. That's kind of how I think of Josh Hines-Allen. When he turns it on, you can't deny him.
All right, Brian, let's move forward. Arizona coming up this weekend. Before we get there, let's go back to something you said earlier. And again, using the coach's term from yesterday, this team plays better when they're, quote, pissed off. We have seen this team respond to adversity now this season on 3 different occasions. Heartbreak against Cincinnati, come back and beat Houston. Just get absolutely destroyed at Wembley Stadium in London, come back off of that and off the bye and beat the Raiders. And then the biggest heartbreak in the fourth quarter against Houston, come back and dismantle the Chargers. Now they're going to have their flowers all week. People are once again going to tell them how great they are. Brian, how can they bottle whatever that was yesterday at Everbank Stadium and take that to the desert on Sunday against Arizona?
Well, once again, that's the challenge that Liam Cohen has, is to keep this team, dialed into that angry frequency that was, coming from them yesterday. So what you're saying is that, man, this team knows how to handle adversity. But what they don't necessarily do well is handle prosperity, right? They did not handle a 19-point lead going into the fourth quarter in Houston. This team needs to, I don't know whether you call it maturity, I don't know whether you call it focus, but this team, in order to fully shed the label that so many of your listeners have as same old Jags, right? This would be a game for previous Jags teams to let down, to, as a lot of people like to say, play down to the competition. Though I don't believe that happens in the National Football League. There's just good football players everywhere, and you can have a bad day or cause yourself to have a bad day by not being prepared. But the reality of it is that this team needs to go out and handle its business. 7 games remain. 4 against teams with 3 wins or less. 3 against teams with, let me see what happened yesterday, 8 wins or more, right?
Yeah.
So you stole one, right, from one of those teams with a better record than you. You got to go handle business. If they handle their business, Mike, and get another one, maybe the Colts at home, goodness gracious. I mean, you're talking about the best win total this team has had since 2007. 11-5, or this would be 11-6. They got a chance to post the best record that this team has had in nearly 20 years, but they got to go handle their business.
Final moments, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, Jaguars Radio. Brian, leave us with this. They go out to Arizona. It's interesting. It's the third time in the Pacific time zone for the Jaguars this year. They only had 4 wins out there lifetime before this season. They've already won out there twice, San Francisco and Vegas. They're going to do it again. That's an interesting dynamic. And then you look around the conference. Thursday night, Buffalo, Houston. Sunday, the Colts go to Arrowhead in what now is probably a must-win for the Chiefs after their loss to Denver, and Jacksonville playing Arizona. I don't want to get too far ahead of the story here, but we're going to learn a lot about the AFC South in the coming week.
So what you're saying is there's a chance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's opportunity in front of them. And if to dial into your previous question, if they understand what's at stake, these are young men, by the way, right? I mean, a lot of your listeners are business people and adults who are out in the working world. It's tough to forget. It's tough to remember, actually. Sometimes these are 22 and 23-year-old kids. And sometimes you have got to remind them of what's at stake. I think Josh Hines-Allen will be doing that this week. I think he will be painting the picture of what's possible for this football team. And over the course of the season, you're going to have some losses that make you sick to your stomach, right? Losing at the end in Cincinnati, losing a 19-point lead at NRG Stadium in Houston. Those they eat away at you. But that's life in the National Football League. You have to leave the past in the past. And if this team wants to succeed, it has to focus on where its collective feet are. It must be in the present moment. Today it's Monday, right? You got to be doing the things that your routines say that you do on Monday. Same thing on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Don't get ahead of it. Just stay in the moment. I think this coach, he's got his team's trust to a level that they'll be perfectly fine just taking it one day at a time and not looking too far ahead.
Jaguars-Cardinals, Sunday, 4 o'clock. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL. Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com and Jaguars Radio. Brian, I know you're busy. Thank you, as always, for the time. I'll see you down there in the Jaguar locker room on Wednesday.
Looking forward to it, Ryan. Have a great one.
1010XL's drive to the Tom Coughlin J Fund Radiothon is driven by the Nimnicht family of dealerships. Customers keep coming back for family-friendly service and the treating you right guarantee. Nimnicht, proud to support the Tom Coughlin J Fund.
He tackles talk radio like a middle linebacker in the gap.
I tell it like I see it, and I see it like a middle linebacker.
Tommy Mack. Fridays on Jaguars Today. Unsealed by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Garrett Scantling here, and once again, thanks to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, I'm back to training for the 2028 Olympics in LA. My torn hip labrum issue is resolved thanks to Dr. Doward, and Dr. Acevedo keeps my feet healthy too. Training and competing, that's what it's all about for me. And Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has me in top condition.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Since 1901, generations of skilled union workers have built the backbone of our community. Hospitals, schools, the buildings where you work. Every year, a new apprentice class of Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians is stepping up. trained, driven, and ready to do great things. They're not just building our city, they're building their future. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to become a member or contractor today.
You lost your swing. We got to go find it.
It's your Saturday morning swing adjustment.
Grip it and rip it.
Get the golf tips and talk to take your game to the next level. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday mornings at 10 on 1010XL.
Want a fresh and flavorful tailgate this season? Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad perfect for lunch, parties, and your tailgate. Order 3 ways at one of 4 area locations. Call 1-833-MY-CHICK or online at chickcatering.com.
2 Super Bowls, 1 Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
I think we got a big one here.
Eric Armstead brings his big resume to Helmets and Heels for big-time football talk. Fridays at 3. Kept healthy by orthopedic specialists of Jacksonville.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, Monday Night Coaching with Campo. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, joins me in less than 15 minutes or so as we will talk about yesterday's win for Jacksonville over the Los Angeles Chargers. Liam Cohen, I thought it was his best game of the year as the Jaguar head coach, both on getting his team prepared and ready after what happened in Houston a week prior, and just the play calling. I thought his play calling was sensational, but then again, maybe that's what happens when you're not committing penalties and you're not doing things you're not supposed to be doing. But a great effort by Liam Cohen and that entire organization. We'll talk about all of it with Dave Campo coming up here in about 15 minutes. We will also go to Gainesville towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. We're going to spend a lot of time over in Gainesville and Jacksonville this week talking about this full-blown soap opera that has become the Lane Kiffin situation. Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247, joins me towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Later on in the week, we'll have Mike Huguenin, Matt Hayes. We're going to spend a lot of time on this situation because I get the feeling that we're going to have some clarity on this Lane Kiffin stuff pretty soon. So over the weekend, let's just kind of rehash where we are here over the weekend. If you're on social media, if you have a pulse on any Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any part of social media, which I imagine some of you do, maybe most of you, but certainly some of you, you probably saw rumblings about some sort of announcement happening with Lane Kiffin in Florida on Sunday. I will tell you that not from, podcasts or anybody, I had a couple of people that are in the know over in Gainesville that thought maybe, possibly, potentially something could start seeping out Sunday, meaning yesterday. Obviously, that did not happen. But fast forward to today. So today, here's what we know. We know, or at least it's being reported by numerous outlets, some of which I believe are correct, that either some representation or some family members of Lane Kiffin were in Gainesville yesterday, maybe looking around, vetting the school, maybe vetting local high schools in case Lane Kiffin decides to come over here with his family. We then find out in Baton Rouge earlier today, something else I believe to be true, that the representation, I don't necessarily know if it was Jimmy Sexton, the agent, but some reps representing Lane Kiffin were believed to have been spotted at Baton Rouge today heading to LSU for a meet and greet, how you doing type thing. And the reason I suspect those things are probably true is because all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi, has basically come out with a date and an ultimatum to Lane Kiffin. It is being reported by several outlets from The Athletic to Fox Sports and all points in between that the Ole Miss staff, the athletic director, everybody involved over there with Ole Miss athletics has said they need to know from Lane Kiffin by the Egg Bowl on November the 8th, Friday, November 28th, if he's staying or if he's going. They need an answer. Now, why all of a sudden, after all the we want Lane, all the great vibes in Oxford on Saturday night after the win over Florida, Ole Miss might still get in the playoff if they lose to Mississippi State. They're absolutely in and will probably have a home game if they beat Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. Everything going great, and then all of a sudden in 48 hours, Lane Kiffin is now being given an ultimatum that we need to know by November the 28th. Look, I get it from Ole Miss's standpoint, but I would have thought this would have been done a while ago. Why all of a sudden today? Because I believe that Ole Miss believes that Lane Kiffin's family was in Gainesville yesterday looking around, and that Lane Kiffin's, at least his representatives, were in Baton Rouge today talking to the LSU Tigers. Lane Kiffin is kind of holding some teams hostage here. I don't know if Florida has a backup plan. I know that you talk to 10 different people that you believe are in the know in Gainesville. 5 of them will tell you it's Lane Kiffin or bust. 3 of them will tell you, yeah, well, maybe Eli Drinkowitz. 2 of them will tell you that somebody off the beaten path like a Lincoln Riley or a Jeff Brom is still in play. James Franklin, I guess, is off the board now because reportedly he has agreed to become the next head coach at Virginia Tech, which begs the question there too. And again, this is something that I tend to believe. Do I know this with 100% certainty? No. I'm telling you what I believe. I believe James Franklin was waiting to see what happens at Florida. That's what I believe. Because I think James Franklin could have had the Virginia Tech job 2 weeks ago if he wanted it. Which obviously he did. He took it today. But why did he take it today? Because I believe James Franklin and his reps now have a little bit of clarity, or at least what they believe to be clarity on what's going to happen with Florida. That is kind of the first domino to fall for me. Why would Franklin be holding out for what I perceive was the Florida job? Maybe Florida State. There was some speculation there that he was waiting to see about Norvell. But I believe he was holding out for the Florida job. And now all of a sudden he's going to take the job at Virginia Tech, a job he probably could have had 2 or 3 weeks ago. Does he believe there's clarity at Florida? Maybe. That's for you to decide. I'm just laying that out there for you. By the way, good hire for Virginia Tech. I like James Franklin. I mean, the guy will go 9-3 every year. 10-2 every year. He just won't win the big one. But based on where Virginia Tech football has been as of late, if you can get a coach that can win 8-9 games a year, you take that in a heartbeat. So I think James Franklin is a definite upgrade for the Hokies. Good on them. I thought LSU wasn't really in the mix for Lane Kiffin anymore. And then I hear Matt Moscona, who's kind of the guy out in Baton Rouge, ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. I heard him on the Buddy Martin podcast saying that he believes Lane Kiffin was still their number one choice. He said that at the end of last week. And now all of a sudden you got people at the Baton Rouge airport today taking snap photos and videos of what is believed to be representatives representing Lane Kiffin that are in Baton Rouge. Now, drastic turn of events in Oxford as far as the AD and the management and the brass out there giving Kiffin an ultimatum. I'll tell you why they're doing that as well. Not only do I think they believe Kiffin's family was in Gainesville yesterday looking around and Kiffin's reps were in Baton Rouge today talking to the Tigers, I think the fan base in Oxford is over this. Go on any of their message boards, go on any of their alumni groups, go on any of their social media. They're starting to turn on Lane Kiffin, and I kind of get it. You're in the midst of the best season in Ole Miss football, maybe ever, certainly in decades and decades and decades. You're number 6 in the country. You've only lost one game all year, which was to a really good Georgia team in their house. You're going to be in the college football playoff, and you don't get to enjoy any of it because Lane Kiffin is beginning to make a soap opera out of this whole thing. It's not really about what Ole Miss is doing. It's about Lane Kiffin trolling people on social media. I'll tell you this, man. I believe that an overwhelming majority of you, 95% of Gator fans listening to my voice right now, I believe that you want Lane Kiffin to be your next head coach. And what I also believe, which will be fascinating if it happens, is if he goes back to Ole Miss, says thanks but no thanks, or even worse, he chooses LSU over you, the venom and the vitriol you will have towards that man will be earth-shattering. If he accepts the offer, he's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And Gator football is back, and let's do this. Lane train. Woo! Yeah. If he says no, you guys are going to despise that man. Despise him. And there's going to be no gray area. It's either going to be a yes, and you're on the Lane train, or no, and he is absolutely public enemy number 1 in Gainesville, Florida. And we should at least begin to have some clarity on that, I would say, in the next 7 to 10 days, would be my guess, if not sooner. It will be very interesting to see how this soap opera plays out. More on that, bottom of the hour, Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. Coming up next, a little Monday night coaching with Campo. My buddy Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's review the win over the Chargers. Let's talk about the Jaguars heading to Arizona and all points in between. Dave Campo next here on Hacker After Dark.
It takes all cylinders working together to complete a successful drive.
We need a drive right now.
Listen for the Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville drive of the game
Need a drive right now.
on 1010XL.
We gotta finish.
The wait is over. Sunday, December 7th, your Jacksonville Jaguars return to Everbank Stadium for a massive division showdown against the Indianapolis Colts. This is more than just a game. It's a statement. Touchdown, Jacksonville! The Jags are back home and ready to turn up the heat in their iconic Prowler throwbacks. Kickoff is 1 p.m., so pack the bank and make it loud. Secure your seats now at Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you at the bank.
Frank Frangie for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember when the Jaguars upset the Denver Broncos in the 1996 divisional round as a 14-point underdog and launched them into the AFC Championship? Well, you know who won't upset you? The team at Coil Fencing. Coil is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and has been serving the Jacksonville community for nearly 100 years. From sleek aluminum fencing your HOA will love to tough chain link for your commercial project, Coil does it all. Visit CoilJacks.com. That's COILE Jacks.com. Coil Fencing, partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We send our best agent in the field.
I want you to find GoldenEye, find who took it, what they plan to do with it, and stop it.
Hayes Carline takes you behind enemy lines.
Man, he's like a super spy.
Activated by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Rollovers, head-on collisions, hit and runs, you name it, we've litigated it.
And while insurance companies joke about the mayhem that occurs on roadways, we've seen the real effects. Lost lives, catastrophic injury, cars crushed like soda cans. And trust us, there's nothing funny about it.
If you've been in a crash, count on our experienced attorneys to seek full justice and all the money your case is worth.
For a fairer fight, you know who to call. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Hi folks, Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting, repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting! Hey folks, Frank Frangie here for Lee and Kate's Glass. Now with the holidays coming, it's time to update that dated-looking bathroom setup and give yourself the gift of a gorgeous new frameless shower with big, sexy glass you spend every morning and night in that bathroom. A new shower enclosure from Lee and Kate's Glass will look fantastic and make your bathroom feel like a luxurious spa. You'll love it. You deserve it. Request a free in-home consultation. Visit LeeandKatesGlass.com.
You're gonna see a big difference.
What is the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth? The answer next.
There's always a good reason to compare homeowners' insurance rates. You may be paying too much. Protect your home with a Southern Oak insurance policy today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The coldest temperature ever recorded was in Antarctica in July of 1983. An unbelievably cold minus 128.6 degrees.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Come to Monahan Jewelers' 48th annual holiday sale now with up to 30% off on GIA certified diamonds and up to 40% off our entire store. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. We're not a big box store. We're your local family jeweler with an amazing hand-picked inventory for every budget. And with interest-free financing, enjoy beautiful jewelry with a low monthly payment. Support your local family jeweler this Christmas with up to 40% off our entire inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach open 7 days a week in December.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Jaguars coming off just a demolishing of the Los Angeles Chargers yesterday, 35-6. No doubt their most complete game of the year. They will get ready to head back out to the West Coast as they head to Phoenix to take on the Arizona Cardinals this Sunday. Let's recap yesterday. Let's look briefly ahead to Arizona, and let's do that with the coach Dave Campo, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's always a little Monday night coaching with Campo right here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, how are you, my friend?
Man, I'm great. Obviously, you look at these games like they're the only thing going on, and when you win, that makes it feel a lot better. So I'm really happy with that one, and I'm ready to get ready for the next one.
Coach, what does it say? And there were so many people, myself included, that just didn't have a great feeling going into yesterday because of the way Houston ended. I mean, that, a collapse like that you think could potentially linger with a team. And the Jaguars come out 7 days later and absolutely destroy Justin Herbert and a pretty good LA Charger football team. What does that say of the build of this team to get over that loss that quickly and go put forth a performance like that yesterday?
Well, first of all, Hack, everybody asks how you bounce back. And the way you bounce back, obviously, is it doesn't matter. You're 0-1 last week, and it doesn't matter what you are the following week. It's this week that's important. And I think there is something to the macho that, you don't like to, you want to put your foot forward. That really wasn't us last week in the fourth quarter. And I think it showed up defensively, but a lot of it obviously is matchups in the NFL. And there were a couple of things I said. I'll hit this real quick. Last week on the primetime show, I made the statement that from an offensive standpoint, the tackles are much better run blockers than they are pass blockers. Mm-hmm. And so they need to hit the perimeter a little bit more with their running game, and they did that yesterday. And then from a defensive standpoint, if you look at what happened to the Chargers over the years, Herbert's a little bit like Burrow. He's gotten beat up pretty good this year. Their offensive line is not great. So I felt like going in, the one thing we had to do was run the football because that was the weakest part of their defense for sure. And then, pressure the quarterback, and they just did that. And that's how you bounce back. But there is something there about the feeling that, we have something to prove.
Former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, my buddy Dave Campo, with us here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, I thought Liam Cohen called his best game of the year. Now, I think probably a lot of that had to do with no penalties. They were ahead of the sticks on first down. They weren't trailing in the game, so maybe he could dig a little deeper into that bag of tricks. But I thought, by and large, it was the best game he has called offensively the entire year. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he saw. I mean, he actually ran a couple of plays back to back, the same plays, which to me, I always question offensive guys that they have to go to something different all the time. If something is working, use it. And I think that he's starting to do that more. I also think that the way to win in the NFL is to play with a lead. When you play with a lead, that gives you an opportunity to do a few things to shake things up. And it was an excellent game from his standpoint. A couple of the trick play, especially the one to the pop pass at the tight end in the end, or to the receiver in the end zone. Those kind of things you have to do that some in the league, and he did a good job with it.
We got the Trevor Lawrence experience yesterday. He had the one really bad interception where he clearly threw it inside when it was supposed to go outside. And then after that play, Coach, particularly in the third quarter yesterday, I thought that was the best quarter of football Trevor Lawrence has played the entire year.
I agree with you 100%. I really, and I watched him pretty closely in the game, and he's going through his progressions. It's just when he doesn't have a lot of time, he has a tendency to force things. And I thought the offensive line played great yesterday, especially Van Lannen. I didn't think he was a very good guard, but he's a pretty good offensive tackle. And to me, that helps us a lot. But I think Trevor did a great job of zipping the ball and putting it where it had to be based on what they were doing defensively. But he had the time to do it as well.
Yeah, I thought the offensive line was very good yesterday. I kind of killed them after Houston. I think a lot of people did, and they responded very, very nicely yesterday. And then Jakobi Meyers, Coach. I mean, here's a guy that's been here all of 10 days, and he leads the team in receptions and receiving yardage, 5 big catches for 64 yards, including a couple of huge third down conversions. What does it say about a guy like Jakobi Meyers that can come in here and in a week and a half be that much of an impact on this Jaguar offense?
Well, that was a big pickup. I mean, the guy has shown me that he's a proven professional. A guy that can come in and works harder, extra, to make sure he understands the offense. He's not making a lot of mistakes. And the one thing he can do is catch the football. And I think that rubs off on everybody else. When you see a guy come in professionally like that and make plays inside especially, that lights a fire on the other guys as well. I think that guy is a real positive for us. I think the combination of he and Washington give them some guys, and Washington's had one bad ball game, but overall Washington catches the ball. Those two guys, I think, give us a chance. And if we get Strange back, I think that even helps us more.
Yeah, reinforcements should be coming with Brenton Strange and Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, both guys are going to be coming back, you would think, sooner rather than later. All right, Coach. Again, the head coach, Dave Campo, with us here on Hacker After Dark. Let's go to your bread and butter, the defensive side of the ball. As much praise as you want to heap on Liam Cohen, and I certainly do, I want to give as much praise to Anthony Campanile. I mean, the job he did. Look, the fourth quarter in Houston was bad for the defense. There is no sugarcoating that. They came out yesterday, and the Chargers were done to the point that Herbert got pulled with 13 minutes to go, and Harbaugh threw up the white flag of surrender. I mean, what an effort by that Jaguar defense.
Yeah, it was a great effort, probably one of the best I've seen from them, and I think the thing that showed up there, a couple of things showed up to me. One of them was, that infusion, they sat Agba down. You bring it in Strigow and Green, that just infuses a little bit more fire to that. Those guys have proven that they have the energy to do a lot of stuff, and I love that. I think some of it was matchups. I think we really came out and exploited their weakness, and that's the pressure on the quarterback. And then one of the things I said to my wife, I actually ran it back after, on the TV, was when Braswell came off at the end of that game, and they tested him 3 or 4 times. Campanile went right over to him and hugged him.
Yeah.
And to me, that's Campanile. That's what he brings. He brings the fire, but he also hugs your neck when you do something good. And I think he was excited about what they did, but especially, when you got Braswell in there, you got, guys like that in there that are backup guys, and they perform well. That's a credit to the coaching staff.
Certainly the big story defensively yesterday as well. Joshua Hines-Allen setting the Jaguar all-time sack record, passing Tony Brackens. What a moment for that young man yesterday, getting his 56th career sack in a Jaguar uniform.
Yeah, he's that I'm happy for him because, you can complain about him, that he isn't, consistently doing this or that. But the one thing about it, if those inside guys play like Armstead did, then those outside guys have a chance to get to that quarterback. But the one thing about him is he works hard. He's a pro. I think he's a leader. Whether he's doing great or not, just his work ethic and all those kind of things. I'm happy for him, and he's one of those guys that's been a steady player for the Jaguars for a long time.
Final moments with the head coach, Dave Campo. All right, now We've been here before this year, Coach. We know at this point the Jaguars get an A+ in responding to adversity. They have proven that time and time again. They're going to be given their flowers this week. They're going to be told how great they are, and they're going to go play the 3-7 Arizona Cardinals. How can they bottle whatever they had yesterday against the Chargers and take that out to the desert with them on Sunday?
It comes down to professionalism. I think that what they have to do is, like I said, you don't worry about the game before, and you don't worry about the game after. You worry about that particular ball game. And I think they understand right now that they're in a spot that's very difficult. They have to maintain consistency from here on out, and they've got a chance to be in the playoffs or whatever it is. They just have to go out there with that mindset. And again, every game is different, Hack. We don't know exactly what's going to happen there, but I guarantee you one thing, they're going to have to rush the passer because Brissett threw the ball 57 times yesterday.
Yeah, he threw the ball for like 17 miles in that loss. I think he actually finished like 450 yards passing, which was crazy. And the other thing that's weird, Coach, and you were around the league for so long as an assistant, a coordinator, and obviously a head coach, this will be the third time that an East Coast team goes to the West Coast. They've already won in San Francisco. They've already won in Las Vegas. Keep in mind the Jaguars had 4 wins in the Pacific time zone before this year. They've had 2 already this year. They got to go back out there for a third time. How big a deal will that be?
Well, first of all, anytime you play on the road, it's tougher, in my opinion, just because of, one of the things that we did great yesterday was lack of penalties, right? Well, when you go on the road, it's a little more difficult because of the crowd noise and not being away from your own crowd. So, to me, this team is a little bit different in my mind, even though they've lost 4 ball games and they've had 1 really bad ball game. I still think this team is different. And the thing I think different about it is I think they're more professional and they have more energy. And I think as long as we don't get into a situation where the offense is stagnant, as long as we can keep a balance and make some things happen, we'll get what we need out of the defense. Where the problem comes in is, the fourth quarter of last week when the offense went dead, and now we're not good enough, especially in the last drives of the game. So they just have to come back to work this week, forget about what happened this week, and go about their business. And I think we're good enough athletically to play with these guys.
Coach, final question. We got about 60 seconds. It's all right in front of them, right? They're 6-4. They take on the 3-7 Cardinals and then the 1-9 Titans before coming back for that gigantic home game against Indianapolis. If you would have told people before the year you'll be 6-4 heading into the Thanksgiving portion of the schedule, I think people would have absolutely taken that, Coach. It's all still right there for them.
Well, it's definitely for me because, I felt like a great season is 9 wins. Well, 9 wins is doable. In fact, if you look on paper, and that's where you got to be careful, right? Because they've now won one that they probably people didn't think they were going to, and they've lost one that I think everybody thought we were going to beat Houston. Yeah. So you can't look at the record. You have to look at the matchups. And to me, they've always been good against the Colts. And the Titans, obviously, if they win a game, and they almost did against Houston, that's what you have to be careful about. You have to go into those feeling like you have a good shot. 9-10 is doable. But you have to make sure you don't look at the record. You look at who you're playing against and how you match up.
The head coach, Dave Campo, a little Monday night coaching with Campo right here on Hacker After Dark. Coach, I know you're busy. Thank you for the time, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Listen, I love it, and we need to play. This is another big. I thought this was the biggest ball game going. I think this next one's the biggest ball game going, and the one after that will be the biggest ball game going. Let's get this team. We got to go out there and play well.
When all the games are in the books, It's time to take a closer look. Post-game Monday. Dive into Sunday's matchups and break down the key moments, surprising plays, and everything in between. Prepared by Dandy Foods on 1010XL.
Waiting around for Black Friday? At Beaver Toyota, Beaver Chevrolet, and Beaver Mitsubishi, we've already dropped Black Friday prices. That's right, thousands of vehicles priced to move now. Get zero down, no payments for 90 days, plus peace of mind with a lifetime warranty. Don't wait for the crowds. Get your Black Friday deal today. Start saving early with Beaver Toyota, Beaver Chevrolet, and Beaver Mitsubishi, where Black Friday starts right now. That'll wow ya.
As a contractor, finding reliable subcontractors is key to project success. Prosser here. Guys, that's where Lloyd's Heating and Air shines. Not just your mechanical HVAC experts, but your partner, understanding every facet of construction to keep your project on track. Lloyd's will spot issues early before they cause delays. If you're a contractor with a need for reliability, visit LloydsHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air, keeping you comfortable in every season.
Post-game Monday on 1010XL is served up by Dandy Foods, making quality fresh sandwiches since 1956.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Beat the holiday rush and call Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $149 and a 4th room free with a canned food donation. Plus $75 off air ducts as well. Book online anytime at ZeroResJacksonville.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
I know 2 brothers whose minds are always in the gutters.
Hi, I'm Tim.
And I'm Kevin. We are the Good Brothers.
That's good with an E.
From Good Brothers Roofs and Gutters.
We install 6 and 7-inch seamless gutters, plus we repair and replace roofs, pool enclosures, and super gutters.
We are the Good Brothers, veteran-owned and local.
Visit goodbrothersroofsandgutters.com.
License number CCC 1334384.
Good Brothers Roofs and Gutters.
Julington Creek Pest Control has been serving our community since 1984. Our turf management program is an all-out blitz, granular fertilization, weed and insect control, keeping your lawn championship green all year. Quarterly pest control stops bugs before they ever cross your goal line. Family owned, locally operated, expert technicians, top quality products, no gimmicks, just winning results. Julington Creek Pest Control, our family serving yours since 1984.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it work. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Florida, Tennessee, Saturday night. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. For some reason, the 3-7 Gators are on national television on Saturday night, which is interesting, on ABC, taking on the Tennessee Volunteers. I don't know how much we'll actually talk about the game here with Zach Goodall of 24/7 Sports Swamp 247, but we will talk about the absolute soap opera that this Lane Kiffin situation is turning into. Zach, your first year back on the Gator beat, how much are you enjoying yourself?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, I'm having a lot more fun now than I have been and had been covering what felt like a sinking ship there for the first month and a half or so. At least when I wake up every morning, I know that there's going to be something crazy or something silly that hits my inbox or that I have to get in right about. So there's enjoyment to a level.
I don't know if we've gone full Days of Our Lives or As the World Turns yet, but we're getting close to soap opera status with this Lane Kiffin situation, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I ended up writing and reporting some stuff yesterday. I don't think it's really breaking news to anyone that's paying attention, but Florida is all in on Lane Kiffin. This is their guy. This is their number one target. There's been the rumors in the past that Scott Strickland wasn't a big fan. To my knowledge, there's alignment here. He is going after Lane Kiffin. The university's most influential boosters are all in on Lane Kiffin. Obviously, the fan base, anyone you talk to, it's Lane Kiffin or bust. And the fans are right when they put it in those terms. It is Lane Kiffin or bust. From any source I talk to, that is the word. They are all in on this guy to the point that it's been presented to me that no one is really sure what the backup plan would be.
Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. We'll get to potential backup plans in a moment. Back to Lane Kiffin. The Ole Miss fan base is starting to get upset. If you look at their message boards, if you look at their beat writers, if you look at people that cover that university and their athletic program, they all still want Lane Kiffin. I mean, obviously, who wouldn't? They want him to remain there. But I sense the frustration, Zach, that he's kind of hanging him in limbo right now. He's having fun with it on social media. I mean, this is a major deal for two universities, and one university in Ole Miss that has given Kiffin everything he's asked for, and for them to not have clarity here in the latter stages of November as to what his status is moving forward, I am starting to sense some frustration on that side of it.
Sure thing. I mean, for Ole Miss fans and maybe even people internally at Ole Miss, especially when you think about Auburn in 2022, this is like deja vu. They've been down this road before. And I would imagine that after so many times where Lane Kiffin is mentioned at any other school as if Ole Miss is, subpar compared to that school, it's got to be tiring. And I'm sure that because the heat and the noise, it's at a level that I don't think they've dealt with before, with Florida being the top school going after him, and LSU, well, I shouldn't even say top school, Florida and LSU, so aggressively pursuing him that it almost, like, I don't want to say it, I would understand why to some Ole Miss fans it feels inevitable that whether it's this cycle or in a future one, Lane Kiffin will probably go. But that's ultimately, I respect it. I understand an Ole Miss fan, after all of the great seasons that Lane Kiffin has brought to this program, would feel that way, because it's what they've won 10 games in 4 of his 6 seasons there. I think they had done it. Gosh, I couldn't even tell you how many times they had done it before that. I think they had finished ranked since John Vaught retired only 7 times up until Lane Kiffin got there. So this is the greatest thing to have happened to that program in a long time.
All right, there's a lot of pros for Lane Kiffin coming to Florida. Let me tell you one of the cons that I'm hearing, and you tell me what you think. Well, if Ole Miss wins a playoff game or two, then you have an uncertain coaching situation until, the beginning to middle stages of January. And my thought on that, Zach, is, all right, yeah, that's true, and that's not ideal. But if Lane Kiffin's your guy, then Lane Kiffin's your guy. And by that point, you would have some backdoor handshake agreement with he and Jimmy Sexton that he's going to take over your program no matter when they get eliminated from the playoffs. So if it takes that long, it takes that long. I don't care if one recruiting class is harmed by that. What's your thought there?
See, I agree to an extent. At the same time, if I'm Florida, and I'm sure they're willing to say anything that would make Lane Kiffin happy, but I would keep in the back of my mind too, again, this is not the first time Lane Kiffin's been down this road. I mean, people from Auburn were convinced that he was going to be going to Auburn until he wasn't. So do you go in with a little bit of concern of, yeah, we've got this understanding that he intends to be the next coach, but if there's nothing signed, nothing done, he's still coaching in the playoff, and Florida is waiting until mid-December, late December, even early January, maybe. There's got to be a part of you that wants, you don't want to accept it, but you have to think, like, what if he doesn't? What if he pushes Ole Miss so far that he ends up spurning Florida and deciding to stay there? It's not something I would necessarily consider likely for the reasons you mentioned, but it's something you have to keep in the back of your mind. And that brings it back to, what would Florida's backup option be? Again, like right now in November, I've not gotten any sense from anyone I talk to that Florida has a clear, formalized backup plan in the event Lane Kiffin doesn't accept the job here. Well, what would that look like in December or January once, say, James Franklin signs with Virginia Tech, if that ends up happening, once other coaches start signing their contract extensions at the schools they're at or take other jobs? Then Florida's in a pickle that, you got to have some sort of backup option.
Zach Goodall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 247. Again, there's so many branches to this story. It's absolutely incredible. as far as Lane Kiffin goes, the fact that he has not signed an extension with Ole Miss, I would imagine one sitting right there on his desk. We saw Cignetti at Indiana do it, and Lashley at LSU do it, and all these guys have signed these extensions, and yet Kiffin has not. Again, I go back to the frustration part for Ole Miss. If you're an Ole Miss fan, you got to be wondering that, and likewise, if you're on the Gator side of things, our audience, you got to think, okay, well, if Lane Kiffin has an opportunity at a press conference to say, yeah, I'm going to be here in 2026, or if he has the opportunity on social media to say, hey, I'm with Ole Miss, that's where my heart is, whatever, or just flat out sign the extension, and he hasn't done it yet, I would imagine that's why Gator fans are getting pretty excited.
Yeah, and if I'm an Ole Miss fan, if he hadn't, I agree with you. I'm sure that there is a contract extension or something of the sort that's been sitting on his desk. I mean, shoot, maybe since Billy Napier got fired, for all we know, because they just knew what the threat would be. So if I'm an Ole Miss fan, yeah, that's red flag number one, and it's only gotten taller and taller as we've gone. And sure, I totally believe that would lead to Florida's increased confidence here too. He's had every opportunity to say, nope, I'm staying here. But the way I see it, especially because, again, he's been down this road several times now, and because he's got, the GOAT agent in his corner and Jimmy Sexton when it comes to these SEC coaches, he's playing the game. He's got the leverage. He knows that if Ole Miss wants him no matter what, and I know there are these rumors out there that if he were to accept the Florida job or take this a little too far, that maybe they would ask him not to coach in the playoff. I don't know how true that is, but that's what's been swirling. At the end of the day, if he wants to stay at Ole Miss, they're not going to tell him no. He knows Florida wants him. He knows LSU wants him. Quite frankly, I'm sure he knows every single school out there wants him, but obviously the others are more long shots than others. If I'm him, I'm doing the same thing. I'm milking this as much as I can because I've got all the leverage. I've got all the cards, and that's, to me, what he's doing.
There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of people tracking airplanes, and this person saw that person at this location and this, that, and the other, and this announcement's going to be made on Sunday, and just a lot of nonsense. Let's stick with reality, all right? Zach Goodall, you follow that team as closely as anybody with Swamp 247. Based on your reporting, your writing on the website, and just anything you're willing to share, what do you know to be true right now when it stands with Florida and Lane Kiffin?
What I know to be true is he is their top target. He is their guy, like I've hinted now a couple times here. I think he is so aggressively their guy that it's Lane or bust, that they don't know where they would turn specifically if he were to tell them no. And it becomes more difficult the longer he goes without giving them an answer one way or another. I've heard, I reported this yesterday. I know that they originally did some work on other candidates to create what I would call a candidate line behind Kiffin. Hey, if he tells us no, would you be interested? Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State said no. I know that. From what any source I talk to, I know Jed Fish comes up a lot because he's a graduate from here, was a GA under Steve Spurrier. Everything that I've been told is simply that he's not on their board. I mean, maybe that would change if we get further down the line. Lane says no, and they don't have a ton of options. But as of now, no interest in Jed Fish has been communicated to me. Again, we look at James Franklin talking with Virginia Tech. Jeff Brom is someone that another outlet brought up. That was downplayed to me. I don't think that Florida has much interest in him. But even if that were the case, he's reportedly in talks about a contract extension at Louisville. So all of a sudden, these options start kind of dwindling. In Florida, it only reassures you that Florida is all in on Lane Kiffin. If they wanted Jeff Brom, if they wanted James Franklin, if they wanted Kenny Dillingham, I think that we would see them aggressively moving more towards another candidate. But right now, the silence says everything, that they're waiting out Lane Kiffin.
There is a thought that if it's not going to be Kiffin, that, or at least a thought in the fan base, and some media, quite frankly, that if it's not Kiffin, Eli Drinkowitz is in play. You haven't heard that?
I've heard when I talk to people about potential backup options, his name comes up as exactly that, a potential backup option, just like James Franklin. I would say that if any names come up more than others, it's those two. But no one I talk to says it with confidence like, oh, yes, Florida would move to one of these two guys if it's not Lane Kiffin. That's about it. I don't hear a ton of appeal about him. The people I talk to they don't really present much in terms of, oh, yeah, no, Florida's definitely kicked the tires on Eli Drinkwitz, and they think that he would be a great fallback option. It's more of a, yeah, he could be. James Franklin could be, but we're given no reason to think that they definitely will be because of how focused Florida is on Lane Kiffin at this point.
Zach, as we begin to wrap up, is there a name you've heard that you're willing to share that has kind of caught you off guard? Like I heard Cliff Kingsbury, which I thought was interesting. Lincoln Riley, but again, he says he's staying at Southern Cal. All the other names are the common ones we've talked about. Kiffin, obviously, and then Franklin, Drinkowitz, Brom, Dillingham. Is there an off-the-radar name that you've heard brought up at all in conversation?
I mean, I'll go with two that you mentioned. When I learned that Dillingham had turned it down, I was a bit surprised. I think Dillingham's a great coach. I understand why schools would be interested in him. It wasn't originally on my radar that Florida would be one of them. When it was presented to me with confidence that he turned Florida down seemingly early in this process, I was caught a bit off guard by that. The other one, Lincoln Riley. And again, that's not to say Florida has shown interest in him. I've not gotten a sense that Florida has shown interest in him. But I had reported back in October that someone had told me when I originally did my hot boards for the first Florida hot board, I had him as an honorable mention candidate just because it feels like every year people are talking about, oh, is he going to stay at USC long term? Would he leave because the buyout is way cheaper for him to do so than being fired? I had a source reach out to me at that time and say, hey, I think there's more smoke to the possibility of Lincoln Riley leaving than people are letting on and that your hot board would suggest. So that's something that I'm monitoring. Again, not for Florida necessarily, although if they swing and miss on Lane Kiffin, who's to say they wouldn't circle to Riley. But that, I mean, I know Josh Pate came out and said a couple weeks after I had reported it that he's keeping an eye on Lincoln Riley. So that smoke is definitely starting to rise a little bit more. And yeah, he said that he's planning on staying at USC. I hear that a lot from a lot of different coaches. I don't think anyone was planning on seeing him leave Oklahoma to go to USC back a few years ago. He's a bit unpredictable, and he's someone that for any school out there, I'm just going to be keeping an eye on.
Zach, final question. We got 30 seconds. I give you, and we won't hold you to it. We'll obviously have you back on in the coming weeks. I give you Lane Kiffin. I take the field. Who has the next head coach at the University of Florida?
I think I take Lane Kiffin being the next head coach at the University of Florida. Just the way it's set up is I just don't. He's been rumored to make the move for years now, and to me, it's kind of now or never. I don't know when he'll next have that opportunity, and maybe it ends up being LSU over Florida. But one way or another, I think this is the year that he jumps.
Zach, tell the Gator fans here in Jacksonville, man, Swamp 247, part of the 247.com, 247sports.com network, and the coverage you guys will have over there as the coaching search continues.
That's exactly it. Over at Swamp 247, my Twitter at Zach_Goodall. Yeah, we're covering these games. We got Tennessee this weekend, Florida State the weekend after. I'm doing my best to cover the team as it is as we go here, but I'm also keeping my ears low to the ground on the coaching search every day. So